Good evening. Welcome to our 2B and overall nutrition call. It is February 3rd. I cannot believe it. Um, and it is a time of reflection, right? It's the beginning of the month. And so reflection from the previous month or into our 2020 goals, what we have for ourselves. So, and trying to bring it into life, everyday life. And whether you're struggling or you feel like you're winning and you're getting breakthroughs, you are going to have things that you're adjusting throughout your journey. And so that is why we do these calls weekly, because some weeks we're feeling strong and motivated and got all the cylinders going. And some days we're like hitting ourselves in the wall, like what's going on? And it can just be our mindset. It can be, how are we fueling our mind? Are we listening to positive affirmations or books or speaks? Or like I have this on my counter. It says goal getter. I have some quotes and things that surround me. So I like coming to my workspace because I'm naturally encouraged. I have my party bus, big thing that I got at our leadership retreat. And so it reminds me, like, I'm a boss, I'm in control. We got this going on. So even the days I was literally just at Target hoping I'll make it back in time for my call. So I'm like sweating because I was running. But I'm here and you're here. And if you're catching the recording, I'm so happy that you're listening, because I'm hoping if there's anything that we can just spark or help re-engage the focus. And so I know I have been listening to the podcast. I wanted to send it to you. Oh my gosh, I'm forgetting what it's called. But it is basically, she like prides herself on being like just a girlfriend of yours, talking all the positivity, or like, kind of some like that girlfriend that you want in your life, because they're going to tell you the real, not just sugarcoat things. But she always does it so fun and positive, and I'm like, I feel like I want to be like that. I want to be like that. And you are that to some people, but you need that too. You need that energy. You need that life breathed into you. You need that's why I like Audible books too, is because it's like they're talking to me. It's like Nikki. Like when I listen to Alana's book, and she's just like, Nikki, better in the waist than on your waist, on my waist, like owning that. So that helped me. I that like leads into what I wanted to talk about today. So I, based off of Alana's book and kind of breathing into me all the positive things, I came up with our 2 pounds down challenge. I like naming things challenges. It just makes it fun, right? We're challenging ourselves to be our best, or to be mindful. And in no way is this a challenge amongst each other. On our last call, we had talked about the beauty of February being a perfect month. It has exactly 4 weeks. It started on a Monday, it ends on a Sunday, and it's so pretty. And with that in mind, you have the ability to lose 2 pounds if you just focus on the week. And then you could be down 8 pounds. Well, that might not be everybody's goal, but you could also challenge yourself in maintaining. You can challenge yourself, in just being mindful. Like, let's just see when I'm more mindful in drinking my water, and not just like mindlessly like snacking instead. It's like, well, maybe my body's just needing water at this time. And so just kind of getting, sometimes when you have that mindset of a challenge, I'm with the athletic background, I love this, and I know you like challenges. So it just like helps you refocus. I feel like your focus levels up a little bit more when you're in a challenge. I also was listening to Alana in a previous um, mindful, in the mindful minute, or the mindful, oh my gosh, under the Nutrition Plus. She interviewed girls who were having success. They had bonded through being in 2B, and they had similar goals. but I don't think it's so much similar goals. I think you need people who are willing to participate really at the end of the day. And if you're focused on your goals and you have other people who are like focused on their goals that you notice they're eating the food or they're trying the different things or it's like they're wanting to change, right? So they got together and they did these little random challenges like, let's see if we can stay a certain number during the holidays or during the holiday month or something like that, or lose 5 in February or something. They just have like goals like that. So this was my beta test or whatever you call it, like we're just going to try this for whoever wants to kind of make it more of a focus and um and just kind of see what the feedback is. Did it help when it came to, I know it's already helped me. So um in the sense of just, do I really need that? Or, hey, I'm at this lunch. I was at lunch yesterday with my husband and I was starving. And we were waiting for a place to open. And so we went to the coffee shop and he got a cookie and a mocha while we were waiting for the place to open. And I was like, really? We weren't going to share something that I wanted more, like, I'm like, I came here because I wanted something to share, like an acai bowl that I can just have a couple bites. And anyways, so we got the cookie and I'm like, I'm not having that because I'll just like, I'm in a state that I know I'll just regret what I'm doing, and that we talked about in a previous call. Like, if you're in a mind state of regret and shame, then that's when you're not quite ready for that like tier of reintroduction, But I knew I was so hangry. And sometimes the answer is just bite the cookie, Nikki. But I was like, I know I'm going to eat right now, you know. The place ended up only doing takeout, so we waited around to end up going somewhere else. But I had this amazing Buddha bowl that had quinoa and avocado and, how do you say it? It's like pumpkin seeds, but they call them pitas or whatever. I
Oh,
don't know.
I don't. I
Um,
just.
they're green, little seeds, and it was like delicious. And I was so happy, and I drank water, and I was feeling so much better, and I knew I would, but I knew I'm like, I've already, not only by asking people, right, you feel more vested, but just the mere sense of like, no, I'm in control. Like I can say yes to the cookie, I can say no to the cookie. I'm going to go eat. And so being there, it had a delicious burger and everything that my husband ended up getting. And but I just like loved mine so much and it was so filling, and I know veggies most, I can eat as much as I want of this thing. And I was able to make that decision. And so going on the scale this morning, and feeling good about it, not that I like caved and then I let my, craziness unravel, but and it's okay to let that happen. I just, getting back to like the challenge or like being in it with people, I am holding myself to a higher standard than if it was just like an afternoon and I'm like, okay, I am starving, I'll have a little bite. And we know that like that's kind of where the spiral can happen.
Mhm.
Different spots in your journey, it can spiral you completely for months and months, into years, or it can just be like a day, or it could just be that meal. It could just, but like I thought we were going somewhere that I always eat their chips, and I was like, I'm not eating chips, but I didn't even have to. I didn't even have that choice. Um, and I still had a couple of fries of my husband's, let's be honest. And I just like, own your choices, feeling good, felt great. So since reading Alana's book, it's been 2 weeks. And on Sunday, the scale was a number that I haven't seen in a long time. And I was like, I must have pushed it. Like it's not on the thing right. That's what I think when it's high too. I'm like, I don't think that's right.
Mhm.
Um, but it was there, and then it was there again today. So it went up a little bit in between, and then it was back. So I at least know I've I'm I'm bringing it down, because I generally stay in a range, and I am very much um, I know I do my spin classes, I do my other activities. I am very like, I need to fuel my body. I need to not be dragging. I'm not about a number. I'm really on how I'm feeling. And so I've noticed with the 2 weeks of more mindfulness, less gluten, um, and trying to practice the better in the waist than on my waist, and just being more intentional about, am I hungry, or ooh, I just I got that text and that made me anxious. Then I
Mhm.
drift into the kitchen. It just like made me more aware. And she talks about these things in her book, and so it was just bringing me more into focus for the decisions I was making. And so I was happy. I was like excited to share because me personally, I've seen a number, and even though weight loss is not my driver, it's like,
Mhm.
oh, I haven't seen that number, so I didn't really know that one, I'm like, oh, that's kind of fun, so let's see how I can do. Let's just see.
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
and I also know kind of like where my body like likes to be. And so everybody's at a different spot in their journey. And so it's just kind of it'll be like, this is exploratory for all of us.
Mhm.
So on the challenge sheet, you can write in daily what your weight is, or you can do like weekly if you do more of a consistent weekly weigh-in. The thing about weekly weigh-in, and she talks about this, is, and I am guilty of this, so I just like know it's true to be fact. Like, you can go great during the week, let yourself go on the weekend, and then you like bring it back, like, or people who do Weight Watchers or different things where it's a weekly weigh-in, and I've talked
Mhm.
to them, so I feel okay about saying this. My girlfriend has told me this. She's like, I mentally knew when I would weigh in, and she always knows, like, okay, 3 days before, she's got to kind of lock it in, like be more mindful. And then she knows she's going to hit the goal weight. But then it's like,
Mhm.
what is that doing with our brain? If we get
Yeah.
more, if we get more aware of it, and less less letting it hold this power over us, if we let it just be like a tool, like, oh, yesterday those fries I had of my husband's didn't affect me, I had a weight loss day, like, okay, like, that's
Mhm.
good to know that I didn't have to get the plate of them. I had a couple of them, I felt satisfied, and I still had a weight loss day. Perfect. Like, again, it's knowledge. And if I
Mhm.
had some of the cookie, I would have known if I went down or up too, or stayed.
Mhm.
And so she just says it's like more just for our awareness, and to lessen the fear. Because if you also know that, oh, I had an awful week, Super Bowl's this weekend, right? Like,
Mhm.
oh, so much grub. We like to like do the peppers and the 7-layer dip and like all the things, right? And so it can be so easy to just be like, I'm gonna just like have my fun this weekend, and then,
Mhm.
okay, I might feel like crap on Monday, like, or
Yeah.
whatever. But it's and then just like letting that splurge, the over splurge, rather than like, okay, what are some of the, like, what meals or what things am I going to choose to like, that's worth it, not so much worth it, and kind of like game plan. So this is really just like, Kaylee always talks about it, that when we plan more, we stress less. And that was like her motto for the year, on our call that we did about um, vision board and stuff. She was like, plan more, stress less. And that's so
Mhm.
true. When you have a game plan going into something, you can't help but feel confident, for one. You're like, no. Again, environmental, stay away from the kitchen, stay away from where all the food is, because you're more likely to pick. So be like,
Mhm.
set yourself up to like socialize and enjoy the time, watch the commercials, watch the game, but like, not
Mhm.
like, I'm gonna just hang out standing in the kitchen, like just grabbing
Mhm.
all the things. And so just like being mindful of a couple things, and just like, we want to live in a space of not feeling deprived. So there's so many yummy things that we can make that can just shift it, or like dipping carrots in the jalapeno dip as opposed to the chips. And that's
Mhm.
something that I have found, because I could eat a whole thing of jalapeno dip. So I do not buy it. My sister like will buy it, or I might buy it like, since I'm, like we try to make it like a thing. But that's another thing with our culture in America. I was telling Gretchen, who's not able to make the call, but she gave me some feedback. But like we make it all about pleasure, like the overall experience of Super Bowl, and what are we having to eat, and we
Mhm.
just romanticize it, is what I was talking to her about. So you got to definitely be careful about how you hold food, or like events, or you pass a test, let's go get some ice cream. Like we really want to try to like not bring that emotional satisfaction with it, because then that brings us to us in our older age fighting fighting ourselves, like, wait, we want to reward ourselves because it's Friday, or because whatever, like I
Mhm.
want to reward myself all the time. So that brings me to our reward section of the challenge tracker. And I'm actually going to share my screen so I can actually show it for anybody that wasn't sent it. So this is like for yourself, if you wanted to share it in the group or anything like that. Non-scale victories. This is just throughout, like, hey, I didn't eat the cookie, right? That's something that I get to add to mine. I didn't eat the cookie. I also didn't totally lose my shiz on my husband. I mean, I was getting hangry, but I was like, we just can't talk. Okay, we'll sit at this place. I need to do some work. You do some work, and then we'll get
Mhm.
there. Rewarding yourself. This is all about you choosing. If it's like buying, Thea and I like our nails done or feeling pretty. And so we'll buy them at the store, or if you're lucky enough to go get them done, like reward yourself. If you get 2 weeks in, or the full month, get a new sports bra, get some pants. I love working out. It's like I think it's a okay, healthy obsession, but like working out in new attire or a new tank or something, to like, you're like, yes, I can't wait to wear that. And I worked for it, or I earned it, or whatever, however you want to bring it. But I always say like non-food and drink rewards. So not like, yay, I get to go to Starbucks, or yay, I get to go, get that donut. If you're going to have the donut and own the donut, put it on your tracker. It's not about, I just want to help with our mental connection with our food, and that we don't want to be rewarding through food items. So don't put the donut as a reward, but if you are feeling good, or you factor it into your weekly meal, and you can do donuts, like that's fine. But it's you're learning, and we want to be fueling our bodies. And we also notice that maybe we don't need a full donut or something, um and I'm using donut as an example, but you can fill in any like pastry item or something like that. That would be something that some people, or ice cream or something like that. Again, we have the beauty, and I think that's all I wanted to show, is like you can put your weight weekly. I guess I didn't do like a total spot, but we'll see that too. So you can either do your weight weigh-ins, or you can do your like negative, like if you're down 1.2 pounds, up, down, you can kind of do it that way. However, makes sense to your brain. Um, but the the food piece is, in the last 2 weeks, I've had wine 2 to 4 times. I don't really remember, sorry. But like I'm getting back to like the donut. Like just own your choices, know when you're doing, I plan it so I know like how my meals are kind of looking. We're going out. Oh yes, and that's one of the things, since reading the book, I'm way more like focused around like just my day. So I've done a great job setting myself up. So if the evening we go out or something, then I'm like then I don't feel like, dang it. Like people, I never was a macro counter, but like it's like if you didn't leave your carbs or something, like then I feel like you come from a place of shame, you know, rather than I'm going to experience it and we'll go to the next day kind of thing. Um, and and so that is kind of all I wanted to say. I wanted to say, um, from like granted my weight kind of fluctuates a little bit in the realms, but it's about 4 pounds in the last 2 weeks that it like came down, so like to me I'm like, oh my gosh, wouldn't you know it, I'm doing what Alana talks about. I'm not just like being mindful of veggies, most like I'm actually trying to do, carb morning and like nutritional dense. And so I'm using brown rice with like a stir fry and egg, or butternut squash I've done, for that carb. So I feel like stronger than my avocado toast, even though I love it. I just also know that it affects my body, and I just feel leaner anyways. I'm not as puffy in my fingers and stuff like that too when I wake up. So that's like a non-scale victory, right? Like I have to like think about it, but because it's like, oh, I'm not as fluffy in my fingers. Oh, So, but I want to open it up. If you have like the goods, the bads, like things that have been going well and things that you might be struggling, or, obstacles or things like that.
For me, just trying to dial in on my nutrition. I figured that I need to cut a lot of starchy carbs out, replacing it with lots of like vegetables. Just been eating a lot of broccoli. I don't know, been really into it lately.
Uh-huh.
So I don't really want to keep it very simple because I will crash my diet. But that's the only way, like we all know, like lean meat and vegetables will get you there so fast, but it only works for like a week or two. So I'm trying to do a lot of research for different recipes that I will enjoy
Mm-hmm.
and that I can always add into my future recipe box. Um, I think that's my main struggle. I mean, I can work out, I can push faster, harder, lift heavier. It's just like the food. Like it's just, I don't know. I had a few chips yesterday. I literally had just maybe a handful. I did not feel guilty, but I think that's
Good.
all it is. Like just trying to find balance in my nutrition. And it's so hard.
Well, I think for you, you have lost 30 pounds, and
Mhm.
that's amazing. So we need to
Thank
like, that is like such an amazing accomplishment. And when it
you.
doesn't happen as easy or as quickly, or, like you hit these plateaus and things, it
Mhm.
it can be mentally challenging, right? It like
Yeah.
definitely tests you that way. And then it makes you feel like, well, what am I doing wrong? Or I'm pushing, or maybe I should work out, like, and then you
Yeah.
get fatigued, and then you're beating you're not like, that's not the answer for us. And that's what I wanted to say too, is I've had rest days. I've had, like,
Mhm.
um, I am behind a day on our 9-week control freak because I didn't I did my spin instead, and then I had a rest day instead. And so it's, I have been consistent for years. And then this is me refocusing into the nutrition. Like I'll go in ways, but like this is me like diving deeper. I'm listening to a lot, I'm peeling back
Mhm.
the layers, because I know this is where not only do I struggle, it's a lot of where people that I work with struggle. People tell me they struggle, even if they're not working with me. And I'm like going futuristically. We don't need to do high intensity like training all of our lives. We need to get more balance when it comes to our nutrition and fueling ourselves. And then, because our workouts are going to change as we age and go through it. And I want to be able to help as many people, especially like what works for me or what I learn and kind of
Mhm.
going through that. But yeah, that's, I mean, those are all, that's always like a great place to start is like, okay, the starchy carbs. I mean, Autumn definitely talks about that. Like, okay, so analyze how you're, what what yellow are you using for that. But and Alana was talking, she was like, because she was talking about like dips or something, because I'm a dip person,
Mhm.
and so she likes to eat food, so do I, we all do, right? And so she's like, I just don't know many people, because they had too much dressing or something, like because they're eating too many vegetables, that's
Mhm.
where the weight gain is really happening. And so it was kind of like interesting to me, because I don't really have like ranch, like when you get a veggie platter. My sister had one, and I don't usually have what's in there. I just kind of like eat the vegetables. But then I
Mhm.
have trouble eating broccoli raw without dipping it in something. And so then I dipped it
Mhm.
because I was like, I'd rather be like filling up more and like bringing satisfaction to my overall than like
Mhm.
be skipping out on the ranch when I know, like, a little bit of the fat in there is all right.
Yeah.
um
Yeah.
but uh how are you, do you eat before you work out on your workouts, or do you?
Um, I honestly I've been going back and forth with that. Just to see how I feel. Um, like this week I just been just going straight to working out when I wake up.
Mhm.
But last week I ate breakfast every morning, and actually probably like 10 minutes before I'm gonna work out, because I wanted to see how I feel afterwards. But there's no difference. So
Okay.
honestly, I can go both ways. And then after I work out, I drink my recovery, and then probably wait like half hour, and then I'll eat an actual meal.
Okay.
And I feel satisfied both ways, so it doesn't matter.
Okay.
I try to get in at least 5 meals a day, just because.
Have you tried her time nutrition?
No, because it's
Okay.
just so like,
It's so regimented.
yes, I
Okay.
don't. My
Yeah.
days, I mean, there's some days that sometimes I forget, like, oh my God, what time is it? And I'm like already eating brunch.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's like, I can't. It, yeah, it's too strict for me.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna have to try it. Just, I mean, maybe next week. Cause this week I'm just doing my regular routine. Cause I feel like, I don't know, maybe because I'm going through a lot, with my family.
Yeah.
That could put a lot of stress. But I'm just trying to get in at least 8 hours of sleep, because I feel like that helps me a lot. Because it does. I don't know. Maybe I'm retaining water, but we'll see.
Okay.
Totally forgot today was rest day, and I already drank my Energize. I'm like, you know what? Let me just try.
Hey, maybe do laundry or clean or do something that you've been putting on the back burner on those days.
Well, I already pressed play.
Uh,
Why did she say Thursday? What's today? Oh man. I turned it off, and then I turned on remote control. I was like, "Oh, let's try this." And then I tried it. I'm like, oh, I really like it. So I just did my thing
Good. Yeah.
for 18 minutes.
Yeah.
And I mean, I would have went outside, but it's like 40 degrees out, and that's cold for me. So no, no, no.
Yeah.
I'm
No.
like, I need to move my body. So
Well, good. Yeah. And I think really what you're going through, moving your body daily, I mean, it didn't need to be a Tabata thing, but like,
yeah.
I think that is probably one of the best things you can be doing. And anytime we have like stress going on, I was gonna say like natural hormones, like there's
Mhm.
like I was like, oh no, this calendar is gonna be interesting around that
Yeah.
time of month, that
Right.
brings about all the challenges. But Alana just shared a reel with chocolate and like putting it in the raspberries and just a couple of the different ways. You've been sharing some amazing food on your reels. Um, and just I I think like having the mindfulness, but also just like not getting in your head about it, just
Yeah.
and maybe it's like with Alana's more sure method with
Mm,
like, and if you just take the simple principles of water first, veggies most, you know, like
mhm,
those are the big key ones. But I was thinking it
mhm.
shows a picture of it, not that it's going to be able to see here. Let's see. Like the
Yeah.
little calendar, or not
Yeah.
calendar, but the cycle. So water, veggies, protein, carbs. Like, you want more? Sure. And then you go in that order: 16 ounces of water, then you hit your veggies. And if you like at each spot, if you still are hungry, if you still are hungry, if you still are hungry, like how to go about it. But um it's I I I'm hoping just like kind of talking about it and
Mhm,
and mentally being aware that that will help. I will also try to share recipes. I know I wanted to go over some wins. So if you have any wins, maybe think about them and then you can let me know. Emily sent me that she wasn't going to be able to be on the call, but she had flexed just a little bit and had made some really great in control. She said, I still felt totally in control. And she had like a beer and then she flexed a little bit, but she um, felt okay about it. She also has been commuting for the week and she like really with the awesome, like, Alana is big on like all the things. Like she always has these sayings. So that's out of sight, out of mind. And so like
mhm,
keeping those tempting items and things. And so that also goes with the push out method that we talked
mhm,
about the previous week about just like the more you can like push out like, oh, I'm looking forward to that latte I'm gonna have tomorrow. But then tomorrow comes and you're like, I don't really need that latte. You kind of just like push it out. And then sometimes when
mhm,
you have it, it's yum and it's worth it and all the things. And then sometimes you're like, oh, don't really,
mhm.
it's not as good as I thought it was going to be, right? I romanticized
Yeah.
it to be this great thing. We romanticize these men to be these perfect things because we watch these movies, right? Where they're supposed
Mhm,
to like come and sweep us off of our feet and like laugh at us, like all of our jokes and think we're like so fun. And and then they're not always like that, right?
mhm, mhm,
um but and then she said, yesterday I was so stressed and so tired, and when I got into that mode, I eat. When I get into that mode, I eat. But because I was prepared and brought all the food I would need for the day, I realized that I couldn't keep eating or snacking because there was nothing left. I didn't bring snack cravey foods because I knew it would throw me off track. So that was a huge win for me yesterday. Today and going forward, I'm still struggling slash working through hitting my water goal. Um, Weather permitting. How do you do with weather during like cold weather? I know sometimes like I've noticed I'm like having to like really be mindful of my water. Um
mhm,
and then she said she is going to go to the cabin weather permitting, but she's feeling so much more confident in making better choices. And then she's doing 3-day refresh and she's going to be fitting into her wedding dress. So I was like, you're going to fit, keep it up. So those are huge wins, especially traveling and working out of town. I know that's like always a hindrance because you're more likely to be eating out and stuff like that. So I'm super proud of her for planning ahead in those situations, and not being tempted and thrown off because that could have really derailed her for a week right before wedding dress try-ons and all that stuff. Um, and then, oh, Gretchen finished the 21-day ultimate reset. And, she has had some injuries and just overall had gained some weight throughout COVID and things. And so she wanted to kind of reset and then start off. So we felt like that was the best start, was the reset, and she already really enjoys cooking. So she, was not as intimidated, I guess, when it came to like the meals that came with that program. It definitely challenged her. She said it she was how did she articulate it? Did I write that down? I don't want to say she felt like she was bonking. That's the word she used, because um, and I was like, what is bonking? I don't even know what that means. But she was trying to explain it to me, like Lance Armstrong and all they used to have like their gels or the things to keep them from bunking, where they can't like push at the end, because they're completely fatigued. So she definitely had a lot of fatigue happening. And I remember that from that program. I also got sick on that program. Um, and my husband was like, it's because you're it's a very intense, just like complete detox. And I was working out during that time, and you're not supposed to. But she said she didn't even feel like she could work out, and I told her it's okay, you weren't supposed to. She knew that though. But she was sleeping. She's sleeping so much more than she remembers. And then she noticed today, even like on day, because today was 21, she noticed that she wasn't aching after running with her daughter, because her daughter woke up wanting to run, and so she did that. um and so I think she's close to around 15 pounds weight loss with the reset. And then you got to slowly bring things back in and kind of see how your body feels with them. If you're inflamed, if you're having, because it's kind of helping you with that brain fog and how you're feeling. But she felt like she needed more protein throughout it. And some days she gave herself, because I said, because it's like one size doesn't fit all, right? When you do a program. And so just listening to your body, but also allowing your body to go through the changes. But feeling good, getting back into her spin Peloton. And I think she's gonna start with MBF. I recommended just because if she wants to keep her spin and doing MBF, like the weight training ones, and you could spin on the days, the cardio core. Also because she has some Achilles and other things. But I'm really excited her for that, because you've had success with it. Our whole squad has had success with MBF. And so I love MBF. I can't like stop raving about it. I'm like, oh, I'm like, maybe I'll mix in one of those workouts after I was talking about it. But today I was dying in my that like I was doing the show. I guess it was yesterday's workout where you bend your knee to tap the ground.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was a burner, a booty
Yes. I was
burner.
like, wow. Yeah. It was a good burn though. I like it. Definitely different. I never done that before.
Yeah, me either. It was very, very different. Um, and I I know that Jess she completes her bar. She shared her results in our group. That was pretty awesome. Just seeing how much transformation and things um she said in 8 weeks, I've lost a total of 14 pounds, 6 inches in her bust, 8 in her waist, 9 in her hips, and 4 in her right thigh, 3 in her left. And
Wow.
yeah. And Jess was like, that's 30 inches. You lost 2.5 feet of your body. And so, like, it's so crazy when you put things like that. And she says, yeah, her clothing. And that was another win for Gretchen. Like, she's really feeling her clothing, because she didn't do measurements or pictures. And
Mhm.
everyone comes in their journeys at different spots. It's not as
Mhm.
comfortable to do the pictures or the measurements. And I always really talk about, like, if we have any sort of mental, it's we don't want to push ourselves in spots that there's one thing about putting it uncomfortable, but we don't want to get where if we get too focused on the wrong thing. So just kind
Mhm.
of having that self-awareness, that's part of this journey too, is allowing ourselves, not the idea of perfection, not like just knowing every day we show up, it's progress. And again, progress isn't
Mhm.
linear. We're going to go backwards, we're going to go down, up, but every day we show up, we're making progress because we're going forward, right? So we have to just have perspective, and um, that's that's why we keep showing up, right? Because we do know we're feeling better. We're better than we were, even though we might hit these struggles or mental blocks or emotional things happening to us, that definitely throw us for more of a loop. Um, did you have any more? I mean, you make me want to make shrimp right now, but
So
I'm like,
easy. It's just butter and salsa.
butter and salsa.
Yeah,
And
Kerrygold
then,
butter.
oh yeah, what did you throw it on?
Um, I put it on a burrito. I got the coconut wrap, and it was really good. I just microwaved it just to get it a little soft, but it was really soft. It didn't break like Ezekiel burrito bread or
Yeah.
Ezekiel burrito wrap. But yeah, it was really good. So I just add, um, yeah, just a little extra salsa on top, and then just wrap it up. Tomorrow I'm gonna make eggs with salsa and then spinach, avocado in it, and then I'm gonna maybe grill it so that it's a little, you know,
Oh,
like crispy outside. So I'll do a little reel on that tomorrow. I'm
oh my
actually excited.
gosh.
I was so
Yeah.
busy this morning, so I didn't get a chance to do that. So I have no problem coming up with ideas, but I'm just like, I don't know. It's just like, you know how like the weight loss, it doesn't take, it's not an overnight thing. It's like, it may take a year, 2 years or whatever, but sometimes you got to stick to it and just be proud of where you have come. You know what I mean? Like from where I was at until now. But I mean, I'm just trying to make my food good so that I'm not depriving myself.
Yeah. That's
So,
where I think there's so much power. Like I was sharing about like having my wine. I have not felt
mhm,
deprived once this whole, like, I said no to a cookie. I didn't feel deprived. I didn't want a cookie. Like um
mhm,
and and
yeah,
I think that's like powerful in itself, like I don't want that stuff, um
mhm,
but like I've been making caprese salads, and just like I start making them at home. I
yum.
I started and then I stopped for a little bit because I couldn't find basil, and they were like, "Yeah, it's selling off the shelves." I'm like, "What a random thing to be selling like off the shelves." But so I
That's
bought some
true.
the other day and
We
I
don't have
got
it in
one and
Florida
I was
here.
is so good. And the
Mhm,
mozzarella, like I don't know, I was like I just kind of was picking while I was making my family sandwiches today, but I had like a couple of the mozzarella just like rounds, um, and carrots. There's my lunch.
yeah,
It wasn't fabulous, but it they're like I don't know, they're satisfying, you don't need much. I always want more, right? Like when I see like what a serving size is, I'm like, I could eat the whole thing. like
mhm,
that's a little scary, but just like being mindful and then having caprese. So I've added cucumbers into it to make it like a fuller, so make it fuller, chunkier. And I just always like remind myself of like vegetables. Not only are they taking us longer to like chew and stuff, they got fiber, they're filling, and they're like, you know, they're the more the merrier, at the end of the
mhm,
day. But definitely like I get a caprese anytime I see it on like a restaurant menu. Like I'm like, oh, they have caprese. Okay. And so I like love it now. I'm like, why was I never making it? And so talking with you and just making food that you enjoy and like, and you can make everything like healthy nowadays. Like you can shift it so you can make it clean, or you can make it semi, or just like adopt it without a pasta, but with spaghetti squash or zoodles or butternut or, like squash. Like, so there's just so many different things. And I think we're very fortunate to Pinterest and Reels, like just give me ideas or give me like, oh, like I'll just follow. I'll probably like make one out of 10 things you share, maybe even like a less ratio, but like I will follow to like look at that because it's like, oh, that looks yum or whatever. um and it does show, like it simplifies it, I think. Like for me, who's not as comfortable in the kitchen, I'm like, oh, really? You can get that flavor? Or like, I would never think shrimp and salsa. Like, I wouldn't have thought that to make that. And so then it's like, oh, that was like a simple thing. I could do that. I mean, I do that with my chicken. Why have I never thought to do that with shrimp?
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
but seafood has always given me like a whoa, I don't. But then I like have done it and I'm like, oh my gosh, that wasn't hard and it's good and all the
Mm-hmm.
things. But
Yeah.
yeah, so it's just like broadening our comfort zone, and yeah, getting into a state of like not feeling deprived, and sharing, being able to share your knowledge, being able to share your experience, and that's encouraging in itself. And but yeah, use those hashtags, good eats, and all the stuff. I'm sure people will start eating with their eye, like, oh, see, I'm coming over.
Yeah. Yeah.
Are you like, is there, for the Super Bowl and stuff happening, how far away are you from everything?
Mm, like about 30 minutes. I'm actually gonna go to one of the Super Bowl event this weekend because they got several. So, but I mean, I was really proud of myself. I didn't have any alcohol or food trucks when I went the first time. I'm
Oh,
going to a
awesome.
different park to experience the NFL thing, and I mean, it's really fun, but it's just so cold. I mean, it's cold for us because it's by the water. Um, but yeah, no, I'm not having any. I mean, because of COVID, no party, nothing. Just party by myself. Not
Hey.
making not making anything, just water and eat like normal. Mm,
Yeah,
Gonna ruin it.
I know. My husband, I try to make it football Sundays. We always start the season off strong and we end the season. It's like, oh, sorry, honey. I
Yeah.
couldn't keep it up through the season, but we just like love football season so much. So, and I just make jalapeno poppers, and he sometimes makes a dip or something,
Mhm.
to try to make it a little bit more fun or something with the kids. I think since it's COVID and like I feel like my kids are more deprived from other like fun things.
Yeah.
Um, I think I'm gonna like go out on a limb and like buy the balloons, just to
Mhm.
make it an experience for them. I'm like, this is like a $12 balloon or something like crazy like that to me, that I would never spend that,
Yeah.
because I'm like, it's gonna pop.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna try to find something, maybe not the balloon, like something that would be like fun for them to have fun with.
Yeah.
So
For sure. I can't believe they're gonna be playing here, and it's gonna be such an amazing experience. So, but
I know, I know.
um, yeah, I
And
know Super Bowl is definitely something that people crash their diets on. Um, but sticking, to my plan and not gonna kill it. Maybe make some wings, like
yeah,
garlic parmesan wings.
yeah. So share those and share how they're like a great Super Bowl option,
Hmm.
and they're yummy. Like
Yeah.
I think speaking to your talent in the kitchen, being able to share like tasty weight loss foods is where, like, I feel like that is like, that's a niche in its own. Like, I want all the tasty foods. I don't want to eat just, you know,
Yeah.
ground turkey and lettuce, like,
Yeah, for
and
sure.
even Alana just shared a reel of like feta and no, not Roma tomatoes, grape tomatoes. It was a block of feta, grape tomatoes, and she like drizzled olive oil and maybe balsamic. I don't know. It was like a whatever second reel that I was just watching real quick. And so she did that, like put it in the oven, and then like just added spaghetti squash to it and like mixed it all up. And it was just like this big mound of, I was
Wow.
like, oh, that looks yummy. Again,
Yeah.
now I'm getting hungry. You already had your dinner because you are my East Coast.
Yes. Almost ready for bed.
Oh my gosh. Okay,
In
well,
my
I want to
PJs.
chat tomorrow. Yeah, you
Okay.
have the cutest jammies.
Thank you.
um, are you gonna be on our early morning workout?
I will
It's okay.
try because I gotta drop off my son, but I will try.
Oh, okay, okay. I think what's tomorrow? Thursday?
Thursday, yeah.
Okay. I have I have my spin, so I'll be out of there at 5:30. But there's people that come on at like Jess has started to work out at 5:30 now. She gets on because she's working, but then she
Yeah.
starts her workout at 5:30. So you would have people there, It's always a party, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay,
Thank you
have
for
a great
sharing your
night. Thank you
knowledge
so
and
much for
experience. Yeah,
joining.
for
Yeah.
sure. Thank you.
Okay.
Have a good night.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.